To the beat, y'all. To the beat, y'all. To the beat, y'all. To the beat, y'all.
Well, what's going on, family? How you doing? It is 6 minutes past the hour on this third day of August on this sensational Sunday. Yours truly, Joe Dupree in the building. JD Live in full effect. You can follow me on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, X. We are at the JDMX, JDMS, S is in Sam. And on YouTube, we are at 100 BLK Media. I'm going to take a little time out because I just wanted to come on here. Tomorrow, of course, folks have been calling me. Folks have been reaching out. Much love to my brother from New York City at 107.5 WBLS, Brother Fatim. And I need to get into a little conversation. First, he is coming back for 1 week. He'll be back Monday through Friday next week. Y'all get ready as Brother Fatim returns to hashtag Truth Be Told /JD Live. Your early morning, get up, wake up. We start off at 6 a.m. Central Time, which is 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And we give you 1 hour of power. Not only is it myself, it is Sister Alethea Crimmins, the CEO of Pimpin' Positivity, along with Sister Jax, Brother Sean P with the Sean P Experience, Brother Bowtie, Antonio Cope down there in Miami. And we got Elijah Nixon in the great state of Tennessee. He's in Knoxville doing his thing there at the TV station that is taking care of the Tennessee Vols, talking sports. And we get into some great conversation about a lot of stuff, about the culture, about sports, about current issues, about community. This is a part of community conversations. And I have been doing this for years. I was going live on the radio a lot of times before people started grabbing these mics and started using these platforms. And I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to be one of the forerunners of this as folks are getting out there. So I'm taking time to let folks get in, come in. I am broadcasting live right now on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. So to all my people on YouTube, big ups to you. To all my people on Instagram, big ups to you also. So I am on here because I want y'all to start paying attention. 8 minutes. I'm not going to be on here long. Might only be on here about 30 minutes, to be honest with you, to an hour. I want y'all to start paying attention. Tomorrow, hashtag Truth Be Told, the return of Brother Fatim. I am very, very happy that Brother Fatim coming back for a week to be a part of the conversation, because I have to say this. I don't agree with everything with everybody. To be exact, I had to sit back and think about it because somebody sent me a message about what's going on. Listen, I didn't agree with my mother and father with everything they said. I didn't agree with folks who have bore my children with everything they said. There are folks that I have been intimate with. There are folks that I have been in love with. There are folks that I have laid down with. There are people in my life that I hold dear that I don't agree with everything they say. That doesn't mean that I have to fall out with them. Y'all kill me with this. If we don't see eye to eye, now we are mortal enemies forever. Ever. Family, that is the reason right now that a lot of stuff is not getting done. I got to give big ups to Tim Melanson, good friend of mine, Tim Melanson. Tim went and did a live where Tim made it crystal clear. One of the reasons that the younger generation is so messed up is because of us. And sometimes we got to start taking accountability and responsibility for the things that we have thrown out into the atmosphere. I said it yesterday. Listen, political season is right around the corner. To be exact, there are some folks fighting right now for their political lives, not only with their lives, but the lives of others connected to them. And I posted this, and that's why I came on, just to have a little conversation, speak out to y'all, because I think y'all need to hear this. For those of y'all who are logging in, thank you. Share this with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Big ups to my man, Amari White. Sold out show last night in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Agent Ratliff did his thing. I'm telling you, Agent Ratliff did his thing. Be on the lookout for him. But I posted this a day ago, and I wanted to tell you why I posted. I posted the following. I said, when you create a monster like Frankenstein, when I'm talking to you, when you create a monster like Frankenstein, by creating that monster with lies and manipulation, by telling just enough of the story that's not the whole story, but will put folks in your corner where they believe that you have the authority, you know what you're talking about, and they jump on that bandwagon with you and say, yes, that, and those are wrong. When you do that, family, and those of you who do that, you are guaranteed. See, like Sean P. and the Sean P. Experience, I read a lot, and I read the story of Frankenstein. I read the book. You are guaranteed that one day the monster that you have created will turn on its creator. I got to start paying attention, family. Paying attention to who's saying what, why they saying it, and what benefits do they have for you to be in agreement with them. Because I can honestly tell you, everybody talking and everybody clapping and everybody telling you to talk and clap ain't telling you to talk and clap just because they got your best interests at heart. I got to say it. Y'all, have any of y'all paid attention to what's been going on? Because there's a couple of things I do have to say, and I don't write my stuff down. My stuff comes straight from the heart. First of all, in this season we're in, especially when it comes to politics, and I can say this because I have been an appointed person who worked for government. I've never ran for elected office, and I doubt I ever will, though people ask me daily, would I consider that? No, I wouldn't consider running for dog catcher in the area I live in. And I have my own personal reasons for why I wouldn't consider running for dog catcher. And those are my personal reasons, not yours. Everybody's not meant to run for office. I see that right now in some of the municipalities that I deal with, I work with, and I associate myself with. I'm like, how in the hell did y'all put this person in a public seat where they have control over public policy? Because they don't know what they're doing. And they're not concerned about the greater good of the people. They're concerned about themselves and the people connected to them and how they want those people to be okay. And I tell you, behind closed doors, there's probably some money being exchanged. There's probably some money being exchanged that you don't know about. And is that illegal? Yes, it is. Can I prove it? No, I can't. Is it probably going on? Yes. Yes. Y'all got to be careful when y'all hear people that one day they own this side of the fence and then the next day they own the other side of the fence. Once again, I say this all the time. Read this one for yourself. You don't have to go and hear somebody tell you what it says. Read it for yourself and then ask for wisdom and discernment to decipher what you read. Trust me, you'll get it. You'll get it. You'll get it. Some of you are too lazy. Y'all don't want to do the heavy lifting. That's why some of you are out of shape. Not because your genes say you're out of shape. You choose to be out of shape. Because all you got to do is work out. And working out is not easy. Working out is hard. Be exact, lifting weights ain't easy. Putting in your mind that you're going to walk 2 miles isn't easy. Putting in your mind that you're going to exercise and eat healthy, and when you have the discipline, I'm just saying, family, it's not easy. Not easy. Not easy, but it is worth it. It is worth it. Your health is your wealth. So I came on here because, like I said, I have a plethora of things to talk about. Tomorrow is 15 minutes after. I will not be on here long. Tomorrow, returning to hashtag Truth Be Told, and I got to give a round of applause to my brother Fatim from 107.5 WBLS. You know him from the open lines on WBLS, which is the show after the show, because the open lines is on WBLS. It's 1 hour of great conversation in the tri-state area, especially in New York City, about what's going on from our perspective. Brother Fatim is a very good friend of mine. Very good friend of mine. Regardless if you see us together, regardless if we go our separate ways in certain adventures, he is still a very good friend of mine. And I'm very proud and privileged to have him back on the show for a week to talk about some of the stuff he's got coming up because he's got his own podcast coming up. Y'all get ready for that. And some of the things that he is doing, and he is always engaged in the conversation that even though I may not see it from his point of view, he is engaged in conversation that elevates our mindset to think about what's really going on. And family, we need to do that. We need to pay attention. Too many of us is being bamboozled by folks that look like us that do not have our best intentions at heart. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this because you need to hear it. You know, right now in my area, there's a lot of political things on the table. A lot of stuff, like in the municipality I work with, there's a tax that's on the table. You know, and I hear people say no to the tax. I hear people say yes to the tax. And, you know, somebody asked me, well, what is your feeling since you work there about the tax? My feeling is simple because I've worked in politics. I haven't just been a person who, what I call a political mouthpiece that just talks. I have worked in a municipality. I have worked at City Hall, city/parish hall. That's what it was called when I was there. But I have worked where what decisions are being made is either for or against or for the greater good of the people or just for some people. And I've always tried to be an advocate for the greater good of everybody, not just a few folks. I say this, and I say this from a humble standpoint of view when it comes down to taxes. I can understand, and sure enough, let me be very honest with you, because somebody goes on their platform and says, well, this tax ain't a renewal, it's a new tax. Well, you are technically correct, because once a tax expires and you get ready to request that that tax go back on the ballot, you're right, it is a new tax. It is a tax that somebody allowed to expire. When they realize that it expired, they say, oh, we need to bring this back, and they had to go through the process. And yes, it is a renewal of an old tax that you all know about. But now, because it has to be renewed, it is a new tax. I applaud you on that. I applaud the person who said that. Here's my problem when I hear people talk negatively about this tax in Opelousas City. This bothers me to my core. If you have a problem with the administration, or you have a problem with the individuals that are in office, you have, regardless of what the cycle is, because nobody has a forever job in politics, you have either every 2 years or every 4 years the opportunity to vote that person out. So I really want to talk to y'all about this also. Not voting is voting. I want that to sink in for a second. Not voting or not participating, you are participating. To say you don't care, you are participating in whatever the outcome is. Prime example. Let's look at the federal level right now on what's going on. Let's look at how some folks who chose not to vote this last election cycle, some folks who came in total opposition of the administration, the former administration, the Biden-Harris administration, how some of those same folks who either didn't vote or said, I can't vote because morally I just can't vote for Joe and the Ho, because that's what you said. You paid absolutely nothing to the sins or the iniquities or the bad things that Donald Trump had did in his personal life. You paid absolutely no attention to that, but you brought up everything that you thought was completely wrong with Vice President Kamala Harris and how she would not make a good president. Called her all kind of names, talked about her in all type of manners. And the truth about it is, now look at where some of you are because you didn't vote, or you say, I just can't vote for. People put stuff in your minds that, once again, and I heard this today from a good friend of mine who has his own talk show. A lot of you watch the Community Hour in my area in Lafayette with Kenneth Keep and Talking Boudreaux. And Kenneth said something today that I think a lot of y'all missed. And I like to drill in on it just for a second from this perspective. Then it said, here's the proposed keyword, proposed budget. Didn't mean that that budget was the budget that was the final budget, but it says these are the propositions that have been submitted by individuals that say, this is what we want to spend for the next fiscal year. Many a times y'all allow folks to put proposals and y'all try to come on here on social media and say that that proposal is the final thing, and it's not. Just like situation with the tax in Opelousas. The people of Opelousas will speak up on that tax. I don't live in Opelousas City. Do I work in Opelousas City? Yes, I do. Will this tax affect the job I do? It may not. I'm not sure. Be very honest with you. I'm always prepared for somebody walking in saying that your services are no longer needed. I learned that lesson very, very quickly as I worked as the chief of minority affairs for Lafayette Parish and LCG. That no matter how good your job is, no matter what you do, no matter who you are helping, there is the possibility that somebody will call you and say your services were no longer needed. To be exact, that's the call I got. Wasn't that you're doing a horrible job? Wasn't that we think you're a bad person? It's that your services no longer needed. Duly noted, took it, moved on. That can happen on any job that you're working that's not owned by you. And if it's owned by you, you always have the possibility that one day, because folks aren't supporting you, you'll have to tell folks you can't do this no more. Because once again, this is about no man stands on his own 2 feet by himself, or woman. Let's just get real about it. Thank you for those of you who are logging in. Share this with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tomorrow, we're going to continue this conversation on hashtag Truth Be Told. But I had to come on here on JD Live just to tell y'all that, listen, family, we got to pay attention and understand and stop being lazy. Stop being lazy. Start right now saying, I'm not going to be lazy no more. Because some of you only listen to certain people about certain things and you don't read it for yourself. Kenneth said something this morning that I said, how many people really caught it? Kenneth said, it is a proposed. That means somebody said, let me put this in writing. This is what we want to spend. What we want to spend and what might be approved to be spent might be 2 different things. Prime example. A lot of y'all saw plans for Brown Park, who live in my area. Y'all saw what Brown Park was supposed to look like. And then you saw what you got. See, a proposal and what you get might be 2 different, because a lot can happen between what is proposed and what winds up being put in place. Y'all got to pay attention. And folk out there talking about don't vote for the tax. Here's my problem with the don't vote for the tax in Opelousas. If you don't like the administration that's in place right now, and you're planning on putting somebody that you feel is your person to be the new mayor or be the new council or be the new elected official on any level, what type of friend are you to give that person $6 million less budget to work with than the person that's in there right now that you don't like? So I like you so much that I want you to run and take over a seat, but I want you to have $6 million less to work with than the person that's in there right now that I don't like. What kind of friend are you? I don't need friends like y'all. I don't need, if that's the type of friend you are, that you want me to get a job and go into that job $6 million less than the person that's in the job, nope, you're not the type of friends I want to rock with. Period. If you don't want me to at least have the same even playing field of the person that's in the job right now, I got a problem. Because ultimately, here's the question I ask. And somebody say, well, you don't live in Opelousas. Why are you speaking on it? Well, there's folks that don't live in Opelousas to speak on it. One of the biggest advocates that's against the tax, he don't live in Opelousas. He's steadily posting stuff about what's going on in Opelousas. He don't live in Opelousas. See, once again, here's my question to ask y'all. Pay attention to who's saying what and what benefits do they get from it. First of all, let's say I own property. You don't know if I do or if I don't, but let's say I own property in Opelousas. Rental property or property period, that this tax would affect the more property tax I'm paying. I might be a little bit interested even though I don't live in Opelousas. However, let me say this. It's all about folks' bottom line. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all paid absolutely, I said it earlier, and I'm going to come back to it. A lot of y'all paid absolutely nothing to this election that just occurred for the president with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Y'all are the same people crying right now because some of your grant funding is no longer in existence. Don't stay quiet for a second. Some of y'all right now don't know that after these midterms, a lot of this stuff is going to go in effect. Your EBT, your Section 8 benefits, your disability benefits, your government benefits are on the chopping block. So you saying I ain't voting? I ain't gonna vote. I ain't paying no. Okay. Family, I'm here to tell you, as I see people on Instagram and on people all over the place. So, I thank y'all for being in here. Thank y'all for being a part of this. Thank y'all for what y'all do. I'm jumping back in because I see folks jumping in, and I appreciate you. Look, y'all, I just wanted to tell you, y'all got to start paying attention. I think we get too distracted on bull crap a lot of times. Really do. And we don't understand that. First of all, the first person you're obligated to make sure is straight is yourself. That's the reason why on the airplane they say, listen, in case we hit turbulence and there's a depressurization in the cabin, there might be some masks that fall down. And if they fall down, you put your mask on first. Stop putting on everybody else's mask, because guess what? The folks you are saving may walk over your dead corpse and just let you sit there and suffocate and die. You've got to make sure first you're breathing. Then start making sure folk around you are breathing. So, and then I hear the tomfoolery. Folks want to, and this is the thing. Last time I checked, I got a few pieces of paper that hang on the wall from Higher Institute of Learning. Anybody can get on here and read to you a revived statute and tell you their interpretation of a revived statute. The only person who can litigate a revived statute is either a person who makes the law or a lawyer. Nobody else can. Legally. Oh, you can get on here and talk all you want to and tell you who you know, what you know. Oh, I'm going to talk to so-and-so, I'm going to file a complaint. You can do all that. Anybody can do all that. Anybody. Look, a lot of y'all talking loud and y'all ain't saying nothing. The reason y'all talking loud is y'all got people who are listening, who are following, who love the chaos, the confusion, and the entertainment of how you're talking. When the truth about the matter is, if you put your conversation to the litmus test, ain't nothing you said can get done from a point of a legal point of view. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And it's your ability to go be the individual who has studied to show themselves approved to handle this in the courts of law. Y'all ain't lawyers, y'all Facebook lawyers. Between Facebook lawyers and Facebook physicians, a lot of y'all gonna die and a lot of y'all gonna be in jail forever. Period. Good afternoon, my brother. How you doing? Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm in here. So I wanted to talk for a minute, and like I said, so somebody just sent me a message. Where do you stand on the tax in Opelousas? I say yes to the tax. And here's why I say yes to the tax. Once again, it is a renewal of an old tax, a tax that was in place until May. Okay. Once again, you might not see it today, but the lacking of those funds after a certain amount of time You will see it. If you think things are bad now, just wait. Take $6 million. Hold it. Better yet, let's say that you're making $1,000 and I came and took $600 of your money a month and told you, I need you to work with that 400 like you were working with that 600. Oh, you might be all right for a season. You might know how to maneuver and finagle things for a season, but anybody who takes that type of hit, oh my goodness, that's a hit. And then some of you are so non-astute in politics that all y'all doing is listening to other folks that y'all trust and believe that they know what they're talking about when they really don't know what they're talking about. Y'all ain't paying attention to how they can change the rules when they want to anyway. Legally, because they know the legal process. While you bumping your gums, they going into legal session doing what they need to do. Look what's going on in Texas right now. As much as I love Jasmine Crockett is on the chopping block right now. And in Texas, because the Republicans are in the majority, they are making moves to gerrymander the districts to do it. Not because it's what the people want, not because it's what's right. It's because they can do it because they're in power. And sometimes y'all got to pay attention to that. Pay attention that folks ain't doing what they doing for the greater good of the people. They doing it to protect themselves and to put themselves in a position that they'll be all right. With that being said, since some folks want to inbox me, message me and all that stuff, let me go ahead and do this because I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Be it that you're for me or be it that you're not for me. Let me do some things here. Move some things around. Yeah. Okay. Let me do this. Because family, if y'all want to talk about it, you ain't got to inbox me. You ain't got to stay private. Let me go ahead and hook my phone lines up. Only take me a second here. And if you want to call in, you can call in. And we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Because right now, like I said, tomorrow will be hashtag Truth Be Told. It's the return of Brother Fatim. That's one of the reasons I came on here, to tell everybody I'm so proud that my brother and I, we had a conversation. He's coming back for a week. It's going to be great conversation. And it ain't going to be, a lot of y'all want that. Y'all want to be entertained. We ain't trying to entertain y'all. We're trying to elevate y'all. I'm at a new place. It's not inspiration, motivation, inspiration. We got that. We're trying to give you conversation for elevation because we need to rise, y'all. We need to stop just talking to be talking. I'm just saying. So if you'd like to call in, let me go ahead and hook it up. I ain't got no problem. Baby, I ain't got no problem, as they say around here. So the phone lines are open if you do want to call in and speak your mind on it. I have no problem with that. Listen, I see the people on Facebook. I see the people on Instagram. I see the people on YouTube. Hey, how y'all doing? We've got to wake up, family. And this is just not a cliche as saying we've got to start paying attention. And you have to start paying attention. You got to start asking yourself, why does this person want me to see it this way? What benefit is it to me and my family? And if it's not a benefit to you and your family, why are you jumping on that bandwagon? I'm just asking. A lot of y'all don't know what goes on behind the scene in politics. I do. I was in a political office, an appointed political office. It was for a short time, but I was there. And in that short time, I got to see a lot. And I understand that folk are fighting for their political lives right now. The situation in Opelousas with the tax, people are paying attention. The situation in Lafayette with what's going on with the library, with what's going on with City Hall, with what's going on with how funds are being distributed throughout the parish. You got to start asking yourself, who really winning? Who really winning? And once again, let me hit y'all with the beautiful thing about democracy. If you don't like the people who are in place and what they're doing, even if you were on their side in the beginning and you help put them in there, you every 2 or 4 years get the opportunity to replace them with somebody else. And what a lot of you need to start doing, in my humble opinion, is start doing this number. Y'all need to start getting together and putting your money where your mouth is. That's number one. And number two, you need to start at least coming up with 3 things that you make these candidates sign off on to say, we will do this once we get in office, where you can show them, didn't you sign this piece of paper and say that you were going to do this to help the community? Where is what you said you were going to do? Accountability. When are y'all going to start holding folks accountable that y'all are putting in these positions? I have to ask that question. Or y'all kill me with that. Y'all kill me with that. When are y'all going to start holding folks accountable on paper? Ain't nothing wrong with getting with the NAACP, some of these action groups out here, and saying, look, we're going to come up with 3 things. And this candidate, in order to get our endorsement, in order to get us to back them. Because you start asking yourself, why is it that certain pastors back certain candidates? I promise you, behind the veil, there were promises made. I'm going to sit right there for a second. You might ask yourself, why certain people roll the way they roll with certain people? Because promises were made. Listen, y'all, I ain't got no, listen. My first time dealing from the aspects of being an appointed individual in government, I played myself completely the wrong way. I will never do that again. Never. But once again, I charged that to my head and not my heart because I really didn't know. But now that I know, see, I haven't spoken like I really need to speak because I have been kicking back in the background watching this buffoonery, because that's what it is. It's buffoonery. I've watched folks come on and read statutes and talk about, did you know this? Did you know that? Can you litigate that, please, sir or ma'am? Can you litigate? Can you litigate? Can right now, if I called you and said, I need you to meet me in the court of law and let's litigate what you just said, can you litigate it? No, you can't. Why? Because A, you don't have a legal license. B, you ain't got a Juris Doctorate. And all you doing is just reading. And guess what? Reading is fundamental. But can you litigate that thing? Can you bring about the change that needs to be brought about by litigation to change the law? Can you change the law? Now, mind you, it has to be a groundswell of us saying, the people, this ain't right. And trust me, when enough of you say it ain't right, things begin to happen. Hey, Sister Alethea, my girl Alethea, she'll be on in the morning. I think she's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She just had a beautiful conference in Orlando. We're going to be in the building. But I just wanted to come on here and talk to y'all about this because politically, a lot of y'all are missing it. Politically, a lot of y'all are saying, I'm not going to vote. You not voting is a vote. You not understanding that, first of all, sometimes it takes just a very little to bring about a great change. And if the people that are in office are, as some of you would say, not doing what y'all want them to do, then you have the right to go out there and campaign for somebody who will do what you want them to do and have them to go up against that person that you feel like needs to be replaced. And if you have the means and the voice, you may get that person replaced. Guess what? It's called running for public service. If you disagree with the way a thing is going, put yourself. I like some of you that are bumping. Oh, but wait a minute. Hold up. If you're a felon, you can't run for office. Oh, oops. If you are, see, a lot of you, the reason you bumping your gums is you couldn't run for office even if you wanted to, because you ain't told the whole story. See, that's why I have to give it up to some of my brothers out there and my sisters who talk about these gossiping Gussies and Gusses of the ghetto, because they'll talk a lot, they'll stir up the pot, but when it comes down to them being a part of the solution, they'll never be that. They just want to talk enough that somebody pays them enough money to shut their mouth up. See, because they are political prostitutes. That's what political prostitution is. Let me run my mouth about a situation long enough to irritate somebody that they secretly call me and say, what check do I have to cut to make you be quiet? Or what check do I need to cut to make you start talking about my issue from my point of view instead of going against me? That's political prostitution. And it's going on all over the place. But y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about it. Y'all want to talk about how y'all be telling people, pay my light bill, put gas in my car, help pay my rent. Y'all don't want to talk about that. No, y'all don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about it. No, we got better things to do to try to character assassinate other folk. We got better things to do. No, we don't want you in our business telling what we really doing on the side. We don't want to talk about it. Mm-mm. Y'all start reading for yourself and ask yourself, if things are bad, just ask yourself, if things are bad in your house, let me take 40% of your household budget away from you. Will things get better or will they get worse? People say, no more taxes, no more taxes. Well, maybe you're voting on a new tariff. Seems to be that word tariff turns y'all on because a tariff ain't nothing but a tax. Maybe because the word ain't the word that you know in the English language. Maybe a word makes y'all feel better because y'all ain't saying nothing about tariffs, and tariffs ain't nothing but a tax. Let me ask you this. Since the election, are you seeing a cheaper price at the pump? Are you seeing a cheaper price at the grocery store? And are you seeing increases in your wages? That's the question. You have to answer that. You have to answer that. I'm not going to see. That's another thing. Stop having people ask you the question, then give you the answer. I'm not going to answer that question. You need to answer that question for yourself. 42 minutes past the hour. I will probably only be in here for another 15 minutes because I'm only here today to tell you, y'all need to start thinking. Somebody asked me, I keep getting the inbox, phone lines are open. Y'all welcome to call 225-250-8770. But I will say this. How do I stand on the tax in Opelousas City? I don't live there, but how do I stand on it? You need to vote yes on the tax. Yes, because it just doesn't make sense to me that a person would say that they love Opelousas, but they're willing to see $6 million a year get subtracted from the budget. And then had the audacity and the nerve to try to tell y'all about essential employees. Don't let folks sit there and tell you bull fracking knackle when the truth about it is they on government assistance. So the question is, if the government makes a move and takes your government assistant, what you gonna be saying then? Trust me, they working on it. Look what Liz Murrow just did. She ain't playing. If you doing some fraud, she gonna get you. And not only that, just pay attention to the legislation that's going through the federal lines that are not transferring to the state lines. Folks are getting re-looked at EBT, Section 8, disability. Any type of government assistance is being reviewed as we speak right now. And at the same time, those of us who are paying into Social Security, which a lot of us are hearing that by 2035, there may not be any money there. So my question is, if you're taking it out my check and you know in 2035, it might not be no money there, where that money going? See, y'all not asking the right questions, in my opinion. In my opinion. Once again, this is only my opinion and where I'm coming from. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, nor does it mean it is truth to you. See, that's another thing y'all need to stop doing. Listening to these gossiping Gussies and Gusses of the ghetto, and they trying to make you feel like what they telling you is 100% the truth. From their perspective, it probably is. And let me tell you something. If somebody was paying me $1,000 in the background, I might be on here talking a totally different way also. But y'all don't want to talk about that. If folks were taking me on lavish trips and paying for my meals, I might be on here talking a little different also. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Once again, you gotta start asking yourself, why all of a sudden folks, what changed their tune? Man, aren't you the same person that 4 years ago you were telling me to love on this person? This is the guy, this is the gal. Now all of a sudden you can't stand them? What changed your tune? Y'all don't want to talk about that. Gotta love my man Tim Malasa. Love him. Because Tim said we got to start taking accountability for what we did not do right by the generation that is coming up after us. See, some of y'all too busy, way too busy, way too busy, way too busy, way too busy trying to stir mess. And a lot of you don't want to tell the truth. The reason you're stirring mess is because somebody is paying you to stir up the mess because they know you got followers. They know they got people who listen to you. They know they got people who feel like what you say carries weight. Look, I got all the respect in the world for all content creators. But some of you who saying y'all advocating for this, y'all advocating for your pocket. You're not advocating for that or this. You're advocating for your pocket. Period. And I wish that's how you would start off your conversation. You know, y'all, I'm here to talk about this because it pays me, and it pays me well. But y'all don't want to talk about it. 14 minutes to the top of the hour. Y'all get ready tomorrow. Hashtag Truth Be Told, JD Live. 6 a.m. in the morning Central Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. It is the return of Brother Fatim from 107.5 WBLS in New York City. As we get into the conversation, not only him, but Sister Jack, Sister Alethea, myself, Brother Bowtie, Brother Elijah Nixon with Sports Sean P with the Sean P Experience. We're going to be in the building, and we're going to be talking about what needs to be talked about. We're going to give you 1 hour of power because remember, regardless of what happened yesterday or the last minute ago, that is the past. And all you got is here and now because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Last time I checked, they're having earthquakes all over the place. They're having stuff just happening. Folks are dying like flies, and y'all over here not enjoying the moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. All you got is right here, right now. All you got. Start reading and researching stuff for yourself. Start being active and stop being lazy. Real easy. Because you may come to find out if you started really reading and listening and paying attention to stuff that you think is for you is really totally against you. And you literally were Pied Pipered to your own demise. Oh, the tune was lovely. And the crescendo of words that were put together had such a rhythmic feel to it. And the person spoke with such clarity and such authority. And they spoke properly, which I don't do a lot of times. And many a times I mispronounce words and I put things together completely wrong. But the person you were listening to had such a great crescendo, but you didn't know they were Pied Pipering your ass all the way to the river to drown. Oh, you followed the tune to your own demise. Since when do we cut off our nose to spite our face? But some of y'all don't love you. Not only do you not love you, you don't love your people really. But what you do love is pimping your people. From the politicians to the pulpit. To some of the folks that call themselves community leaders. Oh, you don't love your people. You love pimping and prostituting your people. But let me tell you something. I know somebody who sits high and looks low. Oh, you might win on this side. But when you get on the other side, he might look you in the face and say, I don't know you. Who are you? I ain't trying. Listen, I done been to enough hell on this temporary side to go to hell forever. So once again, it's only my opinion, my words. That's why I'm on here by myself. I didn't invite my crew in that works with me because they don't work for me. We work in unison. I have a vehicle. This is my vehicle right here. I've been doing this podcast thing. Let me give you something I wanted to say, and I had this in my mind. Was going to say it earlier, but didn't. This is my mic moment. Mic moments come to me from Tanya Bowden Ball. See, I ain't scared to give people credit. I never thought about a mic moment. I just got on the mic. But Tanya would often say, this is my mic moment. So I got to give Tanya her credit. There's nothing wrong, even if I don't get along with Tanya, which I do. But even if I give her credit for what she put out in the atmosphere, that ain't my saying. That ain't my saying. That's y'all problem. When y'all have problems with people, y'all want to take what they said and try to make it something you said. I laughed. A good friend of mine, Skip, called me and said, man, I love what you're doing. A lot of y'all don't know what I do behind the scenes for other folks. Because y'all too busy saying, if I click, like, and share his stuff, he gonna get paid. Maybe I'm getting paid with no click, like, and share. I am helping people do conferences, but they are telling folks, how to make money on social media and podcasting. I, some of y'all know I play video games. I'm 58 years old, still playing video games. Probably after I get off of this and finish eating, I'm gonna be all on some Call of Duty. I promise you, I will. I will. I will. Douglas Guidry, what's up, my brother? How you doing? So, once again, I just came on here for a little bit. It's 9 minutes to the top of the hour, and I should be back on. We'll be back on in the morning with hashtag Truth Be Told JD Live. But I wanted to come on here. Y'all got to stop paying attention. Y'all got to start paying attention. This is just my humble opinion. And once again, phone lines are open. If you disagree with me, you can. In politics, y'all got to pay attention. Y'all got to start asking people, okay, let me understand this. Y'all proposing this much money for City Hall, but why haven't y'all built my library yet? Y'all got to start asking people, let me understand this. You don't live here, but you got a lot of rental properties here. And if there is a sale tax that is passed that all of a sudden puts a little more money on lumber and products and services, you're going to have to pay a little bit more money on the things you do. But aren't you making hella fire? I saw a person post a home in Opelousas that the rent was $1,300 a month. And the response was, you can rent this or we can work out a lease purchase agreement. Business owners are concerned about the bottom line of their business. They're not concerned about the greater good of your community if they don't live in your community. So, Brother Douglas asked the question, why is Mbola falling apart? I'm not the owner of Mbola. I have the slightest idea. I have the slightest idea, Brother Guidry. I have the slightest idea. How you doing, Brother Gervis? And listen, because I own this platform, because I pay my hard-earned money to make sure that this podcasting platform that I own is mine. I can stay on here as long as I want to. And if you want to get into that conversation, we can. I don't know why some of these apartments are falling apart. I don't know why some of these folks out here who call themselves good, loving Christians. Oh, man, I love the community. I am a good, loving Christian. You know me, I'm a good guy. Listen, you are also an entrepreneur trying to make money. Just say that sometimes in your situation, because I've seen people buy some of the most dilapidated houses and rent them out for $800 to $1,300. Shotgun houses, folk paying $800 a month rent in with very little improvements. Because people who are entrepreneurs and business folks are trying to make money. You say you don't think 17 million could have went to affordable housing. Brother Guidry, I believe that whatever the dollar amount is, and I could care less what it is, if it helps people live in quality, not affordable, quality housing. See, affordable housing might not be quality housing. I'm not about affordable housing. I'm about affordable quality housing. Because some of this affordable housing, I wouldn't put my dog in it if I had a dog that needed a dog house. That's my point of view. So, and another thing, Douglas, I love you. I love brother Eddie Bonnet. And listen, y'all can come on here and try to hiccup me, or Joe, you said this, said that. I stand by what I said. And guess what? A lot of times I say stuff that after further review, I may not have should have said it. And I go back and I say, man, I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong. The way it came out, it was wrong. But at the end of the day, bro, I am about the greater good of the people. My heart has always been for the greater good of the people. I'm one of the few people who, I promise you, every night, I don't only pray for my friends, but I pray for my enemies also. And I laugh because God know my heart. You know how I know God know my heart? Because even though I might not have as many click, likes, and shares as other folks, and I ain't on here talking about, man, I'm making Country Wayne money, God is taking care of me. I ain't missed a meal or a bill. And I understand the same folks that be and go ahead. Everybody in my circle ain't in my corner. I know who in my corner. And I'm thankful that the one person that's in my corner, even when I when I don't even sometimes deserve him to be in my corner, is God. Y'all got to wake up, man. Y'all not reading it for yourself. See, y'all problem, y'all lazy. Do you know how many times I done read this book? I'm actually on the 7th time of me reading this book, and every time from cover to cover, and every time I find out something new, I say, man, I missed that. Let me get a little more. Let me get a little more discernment on that. How does that really work and operate? Because I ain't perfect. I don't know everything. Like I said, I'm being real with y'all. A lot of y'all letting people piper y'all straight to y'all demise. Because you're lazy. You won't read it for yourself. So you'll let somebody come on here and read to you. Let me read you Louisiana RS statute 1.73, and this is what it says. Yes, that's what it says. Can you litigate that in a court of law to change it? Because what it says might not be actually right. Because you have to understand this. Just because it's legal don't mean it's moral. Let me say that again for somebody. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it was moral, because there was a time in the United States of America, slavery was legal. Doesn't mean it was right or it was moral. So y'all keep on talking about the law, the legislative folks y'all done put in office. Just because they in office, just because they passing laws, and just because they doing what they doing does not mean it is moral. And it does not mean it is what God intended for it to be. That's why God said, render. Some of y'all read this thing. Somewhere in here it says, render what is unto Caesar to Caesar. However, render what is unto the Lord to the Lord. And that's y'all problem. Y'all only rendering on one side. Y'all ain't rendering both ways. One of the biggest sticky notes I have that I read every morning, guess what it says? Who am I to judge? Now, I had an astute student of theology argue me with that. In this word, which I said once again for the 7th time, I'm starting to read again from cover to cover. It speaks about when we do have knowledge of what's going on, but once again, there's two different. His ways is not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. Y'all got to stop that. Y'all got to stop. God said you will know them. Hold it. He didn't say you would judge them. Now, I know there's different interpretations and there's different versions, but in the King James Bible, it doesn't say you will judge them by the fruit they bear. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say you will judge them by the fruit they bear. It says you will know them by the fruit they bear. And mind you, I'm not no big theologian. I ain't no big guy who go to church every Sunday. I ain't no big pastor, bishop, preacher, teacher, evangelist. None of that. When I stand before God, this book says ain't none of them folk, be it T.D. Jakes, be it Jamal Bryant, who I know, is going to be able to speak for me. Your local pastor, no matter how much you love him, know how big and bad the edifice is, no matter how much he tell you on Sunday, no matter how much money you put in that collection plate, when you stand before God, the only person you can stand for is yourself. You can't say, oh, let me call Pastor so-and-so to speak for, Let the work you have done speak for you. See, some of us put in work, and we putting in work up front, behind the scenes, we putting in work. We ain't got to tell you we putting in. Y'all be surprised how much I do that's outside of the city I live in, outside of the municipality I work in, to help the betterment of my people as a whole. When I say my people, I look at everybody as my people. Because last time I checked, since everybody want to make it a black-white thing, it's a black or white thing. Last time I checked, I have a whole son that is half white. So I don't like the white part of him. Human beings are human beings, and human beings do some of the most craziest things. It is the top of the hour. I said I was only going to stay on here for about an hour, but I feel an urge. I got to stay a little bit longer. Another thing you won't see me coming on here doing. Y'all don't know. I wish I could show you a picture, but I don't want to gross y'all out. I ruptured my Achilles in February. Training. I ruptured my Achilles. Snapped it in two. snapped it in two. I have had some financial trials and tribulations since February until today, but you don't see me on here asking y'all for nothing. My God shall supply my every need according to his riches and glory. That's what pastors, preachers, teachers, that's what it say in this book. Didn't say that I got to ask y'all. It said, my God, you'd be surprised between the time my Achilles ruptured and I'm still on the mend. I just started jogging again. They operated on me on the 28th of February. So it hasn't even been 6 months since my Achilles surgery. I'm actually walking. I can do a little fast-paced walk. I'm getting better because my God shall supply my every need. I ain't been on here talking about, woe is me, y'all. Y'all know I'm down. Oh, I'm down. There was times I was doing this show and I was in a boot. There was time I was going to physical therapy crying in tears that it was hurting so bad. But I kept saying to myself, my God shall supply my every need according to his riches and glory. I ain't missed a meal or a bill. And I ain't on here asking you for $1. I ain't asking you for nothing. If God puts it on your heart to bless me, then that's between you and God. I ain't got to be on here asking for nothing. If God puts it on, God has put it on folks' hearts. I have had people call me and say, hey, man, God told me to sow this into you. I said, wow. Man, I wasn't expecting that. Wasn't because I was on here talking about, I need $1, y'all. Y'all know I'm bad out. Look what's going to happen to me. That's just how I do it and how other folks do it. And I'm not criticizing how anybody else is telling you how I do it. Because I ain't missed a meal or a bill. God has been better to me than I've been to myself. And will continue to do so because he is omnipotent. He is who he is. And I can't understand who he is because there's times that he takes care of me. And I'm like, dude, I ain't deserving of you watching out for me. Brother Guidry, you talked about affordable housing. I agree with affordable housing if it's quality. Let me recant what I said. I believe 100% in affordable housing. It needs to be quality affordable housing because a lot of the affordable housing is not quality. And those are the facts. See, so many times, not saying that you did this purposely, Brother Guidry, but so many times we say things that sound good. And I see that now with a lot of this political talk and banter that's going on throughout my community, throughout communities that I live adjacent to, and even municipalities that I work in, like Opelousas. Right now, I hear all the talk about the tax, and I'm like, you know what saddens me about this? You talking about you want to replace the person that's in office. Okay, you have the right to. If you replace them and you put, and I was your friend and you put me in, you love me so much that you put me in $6 million less than the guy that you can't stand, but you my friend and you love me. I don't need friends like that. I personally do not need friends like that. Brother Gervis put out there, hold on, let me put this out, Brother Gervis. Let me see what you said. You said night out and school supply, Tuesday night, Opelousas. Yep. We're going to be talking. I'm going to actually be talking about that on hashtag Truth Be Told. But yes, family, and be on the Opelousas Police Department's page. We're going to have stuff out there about night out and school supplies, and you know, I got to find that out, Brother Gertis. So Brother Guidry asked Brother Gertis. I don't know, Brother Guidry, but we can find out. You know, and that's the point. We got to be Okay, y'all. I was trying to get off, but my spirit said don't do it. So I got to say this. I want y'all to hear this. Because some of y'all heard it and some of y'all didn't. But y'all really need to hear this. Because this is coming from my soul. Coming from my soul, y'all. And y'all really need to hear this. Because once again, we got too many gossiping Gussies of the ghetto and Gussettes. Too many gossiping Gussies and Gus of the ghetto. You know, and everybody want to talk that noise. Talk that noise. Everybody want to be the aficionado. I'm not the aficionado. I have love for my people. I have love for my community. I have love for you, even if you don't have love for me. Because the last time I checked, there's no dissemination between black and brown folks. The same black and brown folks they love today will be the same black and brown folks they hate tomorrow. Ask OJ. I'll sit right there while I'm looking. I'll sit right there while I'm looking. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Something else I forgot to do. Very good friend. Hold it. Be exact. I'm going to put this up there for a reason. This is my friend. Ha ha. Friend. This is got number love for this young lady. My journey with Essence, and a lot of folks don't know the Essence Music Festival of Culture, along with its CEO, showed me so much, so many ways throughout the years through its ownership. Be it ownership was black and brown, or be its ownership was non-black and brown, because there were years that Caucasians owned and ran Essence that I still got a lot of love. And I got to say, much love to everyone showed me love. But this young lady here, and I got to show her. She many a times speak to me, would give me much love. My girl, right here, big congratulations, Corey Murray. He is now the editorial content vice president, executive vice president for Ebony. And this lady right here has showed me much love so many times, have given me insight on things I needed to know to make myself better, and to make it that the information I gave out to people was the information that would inspire, elevate, and inform. So much love to her on her new endeavor. I am so proud of you. So proud of. So as I was saying, I got to get this off my, because I got it off my chest once, so I got to get it off my chest again. I want y'all to hear this. I did this back a few days ago, but y'all really need to hear this. And for those of y'all who didn't hear it, you're gonna hear it now. For many years in media, community engagement, and government. So in media, first time I donned myself on a microphone in media, I was 17 years old at Kicks 96 in Henderson/Jackson, Tennessee, owned by Denise LaSalle and James Superwolf. That's the first time I broke open a microphone and began to talk on these airwaves. I was 17 years old. I'm 58 right now. You do the math. Community engagement. Anybody who knows me, and it did not start when I got to Lafayette, Louisiana. Wherever I have set my feet at, and I've lived a lot of places, I've always been involved in the community and what was best for the community. In government, I have worked from the military to being in the halls of city hall/parish hall. I've worked in government. Social media has become a stage, and we got too many folks out here that just acting. They will do or say anything for click, like, and share, especially when it comes to politics. Especially when it comes to politics. And why Essence haven't moved to Juneteenth weekend? Ask Essence. I did work for them. I don't own them. I don't know. But watch this. Prime example. Some will stir the drama, light the match, set the house on fire, and then run out the same house that they just set on fire, swearing to God that they're a burn victim. Oh my God. Look at what they did to me. Baby, you lit the match and set the house on fire. Some folks, not all, because some are very valid, but some folks will post sob stories asking for help because not because they are truly in a crisis, but because they made some poor choices and some bad decisions, and they won't take responsibility. That's not struggle, that's manipulation. And that's what some of y'all all about on social media. Y'all about manipulating folks to believe that woe is you, when it ain't woe is you. You just been making bad decisions. And here's the thing, because of either the way you look, because of the way you look, because some of y'all are so caught up in the vanity and so much into showing what should be really for you and whoever you're in a relationship. Y'all want to show everything to everybody. This part is big when it comes down to tomorrow and the return of Brother Fatim on hashtag Truth Be Told /JD Live. We need to be able to agree to disagree without cutting each other off. Too many times, once we don't see eye to eye, all of a sudden everybody got to fall out with each other. Every difference in opinion is not a declaration of war. Just because you don't see it like I see it, just because you don't worship like I worship, just because you don't live where I live, just because financially you don't see it the way I see it, or vice versa. That does not mean it's a declaration of war. Folk are living life to the best of their ability. And just because they're not maybe at your standard, below your standard, above, wherever they at in life, that's them. Especially as Black and brown folks. We must shift our focus from beef and drama to what really matters. I wish we would talk more about economics, education, family, and community, but we don't. And when we do talk about it, we're talking about it from the perspective of somebody has already talked to us on how to talk about it, because ultimately some of us are getting checks cut in the background to talk the talk we talking. It's not because we believe it. It's not because we standing on it. The business you standing on is the check you getting cut that don't nobody know that you getting cut. We don't want to talk about that. No. Aha. I'm back. See that? I knew it. Okay. Where was I at? In my opinion, once again, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's fact. Just means this is the way I see it. Doesn't mean I'm telling you what is the unadulterated truth. It's my truth. The real enemy is the poverty mindset, the manipulation mindset, the let's look like we're winning where we're losing mindset. We just saw on social media where a young lady in Slidell, Louisiana was investigated and arrested by Liz Merrill and the Department of Justice investigation because she had a business. Now, I want y'all to understand this once again, the poverty mindset, not being in poverty, but the poverty mindset. This lady from 2020 to 2024 had made $9.5 million, but her impoverished mindset said, I need to apply and get government assistance. That ain't because she's in poverty. It's because she has an impoverished mindset. And we had talked about that earlier in one of our hashtag Truth Be Told, many of our podcasts, and you can go and watch some of the prior podcasts on 100 BLK Media, but or you can go to www.the100blk.com, where we had talked about some of y'all want to drive a Mercedes Benz or a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, but y'all want to walk into a store with an EBT card. Not because you're poor, but because you have an impoverished mindset. We need to get back to a place where clapping for somebody else does not mean silencing yourself. I can clap for Douglas Guidry. I can clap for Gervis Williams. I can clap for Eddie Barnett. I can clap for Alethea. I can clap for Willie Pickens. Those are the folks that I'm seeing there. I can clap for a ton of folks that are on Instagram. I can clap for all the folks that are on YouTube. I can clap for y'all. I don't have to dim my light to let your light shine. To be exact, if my light is bright and your light is bright, now we got more light. Because y'all know what happened when the lights come on. The roaches do this. Accountability, respect, and responsibility. These need to be, in my opinion, our non-negotiable. Because if there was no social media, who would you be? What would you stand for? If you couldn't get on a platform like this, if it wasn't in existence, because let me tell you something, my voice was being heard long before there was a Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, any of that. Let's build a beloved community, one where, in my opinion, we uplift, support, and elevate each other. A community where we celebrate our wins publicly. This is important. And we handle whatever corrections need to be handled privately. We celebrate our wins publicly. I know that's hard for some of y'all, because some of y'all want folk to do good. You just don't want them to do better than you. Some of y'all think that for 1 minute, and guess what? It doesn't cost nothing to click like and share. It don't cost you 1 penny. Us shut him down. You can't shut me down. Most High got my back. We need to, once again, in my opinion, begin to form a community that uplifts, supports, and elevate one. A community where we can celebrate our wins publicly and we correct ourselves privately. Now that's growth, in my opinion. That is protecting our peace, and that is power. That's how we move forward. Look, y'all, I'm getting ready to get out of here. 16 minutes after. I've been on here longer than I planned on being on here. I'm gonna close out a different way than I close out on hashtag Truth Be Told. Remember this: help who you can help. Fix what you can fix. Everything else, let go and let God. It's been real. It's been fun. It's your main man, Joe Dupree. I'm getting ready to get up out of here. Y'all catch us tomorrow for hashtag Truth Be Told. It is the return of Brother Fatim. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the spot. This is the space. We got nothing but love for you. And Lord say the same. We'll be back early in the morning. Y'all be good. I'll be hollering at you. Just remember, pay attention. Start finding out for yourself. Just because they tell you it's good for you, you need to make sure that what they said was good for you is really good for you. And ask yourself the ultimate question. Why? Why do you need me to see it this way? Why? Because everybody asking you to go a certain direction ain't asking you to go that way for the greater good of the community. There are some that are. But you need to know in your heart of hearts, the reason I'm doing this is because it's what's best for me and my family. For me first, and those connected to me second. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a good one. I'm up out of here. Peace.